I actually just left a gathering with the mayor of Dallas, who's a lot nicer than the mayor of Irving. So I offered to him to expand his control over here, but he refused the offer. I don't know if that's constitutional, but no, on a serious note, yeah. Mayor Michael Rawlings and the City Council of Dallas and other faith leaders and things of that sort to talk about sort of what happened today and to offer some perspective. And subhanAllah, it almost seems unreal because we were on cloud 9 the last few days, the last week, thinking, alhamdulillah, our image is back up, everything is okay. But I think everyone sort of had this lingering thought that it was only a matter of time before once again something like this happened. And though I don't think we were expecting the worst mass shooting in the history of the country to happen, but everyone was sort of expecting something to happen at some point which would reverse us back there. And it really got me thinking, that Muhammad Ali, may Allah have mercy on him, is a once-in-a-lifetime type of person. There isn't really anyone that we can identify in our community now that has that level of influence, that has that position, that has done what he's done. And so counting on a Muhammad Ali is really not a very smart strategy for us as a community. In fact, what this shows us is that the only way to really counter this is really to just build coalitions. It really comes down to coalition building, to getting to know our neighbors, to reaching out to our community. I truly do hope, inshallah ta'ala, Valley Ranch Masjid will be a model community in that regard, in terms of reaching out and building bridges and building coalitions. Building coalitions allows us to fortify not only ourselves, but the entire community, subhanAllah, our entire society, against these types of tactics that seek to divide us. And it's a much more thought out strategy. And so I want everyone to sort of take a moment and recognize that you are an ambassador of this deen, whether you like it or not. Every time someone sees you, that's an opportunity for you to squash some of the perceptions that they're going to have of you. Yes, Islamophobia is very irrational. Yes, the percentage of Muslims that will carry out these types of attacks are very small. But you know what? As that xenophobia builds, and when you have presidential candidates like Donald Trump that are constantly being opportunists when these things happen, and people like him, then you are going to be viewed with suspicion every single moment of your life. SubhanAllah, every time you go to the grocery store, every time you go to work, every time you go to the airport, that's an opportunity for you to crush a misconception, to crush a perception. And obviously coalition building is at an institutional level. But da'wah in that sense, with your character, is at your own level. And what I recognize today is that all of these people, subhanAllah, as they were speaking out, because obviously when we talk about hate crimes, perpetrated against any group of people, okay, we're not talking about the value system or a religion that unites us or a belief system that unites us. Just like when people stand up against Islamophobia, it's not because they think that Islam is the true religion. It's that they think that people should not be targeted because they practice Islam. So every phobia is the same, and every group of people that's being targeted is the same. And we have to take a very clear stance against that. That's not validating any other belief system or any other lifestyle. It's saying that it's unacceptable that people be targeted or people have violence inflicted on them. We have to sort of establish ourselves in that role in this community. And yes, coming out of our bubble is very, very, very uncomfortable. Subhanallah, it's extremely uncomfortable because it's nice and convenient when we can, when you come into the masjid and you can just pretend that none of that exists outside. This is sort of like an escape. You come into this bubble and you can pretend that nothing is going on the outside. Everything is the same. Taraweeh today is the same as it was yesterday, right? It's the same Taraweeh. This is your sanctuary, and you can pretend that nothing is going on out there, but the fact of the matter is that a lot is going on out there. And unless we build those types of alliances and coalitions with people that, that don't want to see intolerance and don't want to see a Donald Trump America, then we're really asking for trouble. We can't keep counting on the Muslim hero. We can't keep fooling ourselves with the nice Shahada story. Sheikh Yasser and myself were actually having a conversation, subhanAllah, about the overemphasis on convert stories in the Middle East. It's almost like, it has this paralyzing effect. It has an element of fantasy to it. That people in the Muslim world, Shahada videos get spread like wildfire. Why? Because we want to believe that no matter what happens, people are taking shahada and everyone's becoming Muslim and all this is happening. And look at this person who came from this background and came from this improbable background, and that person's taking shahada. But the fact of the matter is that's the minority. And the growing suspicion and the growing hatred towards our deen is real. And the growing number of Muslims that are also leaving the deen is real. And so we can't keep obsessing over the nice, pretty shahada story and expect that that's going to save us from everything that's going on the outside. It takes connections, it takes building bridges, it takes building alliances. And inshallah ta'ala, it's at an institutional level, but recognize your position. Don't wait for the next Muhammad Ali, and don't wait for the next American Muslim hero to pass away, and we can, highlight their janazah and expect that that's going to save us. It's not going to save us at all. So truly, let's build friendships. And I'm not going to ask you guys for a show of hands, but how many of you have actually, don't raise your hands, how many of you have actually reached out to your non-Muslim neighbors? How many of us actually have developed some sort of relationship with our non-Muslim neighbors? Beyond just a wave when you're driving in, right? Ramadan's an opportunity. Take some sweets over to them. Introduce yourself. Get to know those people. It starts there. Because it only takes, as we can see, subhanAllah, it only takes one person to ruin the entire atmosphere of the country. You think about a person that could have been touched by da'wah, that could have been touched by a kind Muslim, that could have had that dehumanization broken, that barrier already torn down. You don't know what you're actually saving people from. Because that person that you don't reach out to, that person that you don't give a good perception of Islam, could go on to become a violent Islamophobe. Just like you have violent Islamophobes, you have violent homophobes, you have violent anti-Semites, you have the African American community, subhanAllah, what's not being mentioned today, and sadly it hasn't been mentioned, this Friday actually, and I had the intention to actually even announce it today, subhanAllah, this Friday there's an event that's marking the 1-year anniversary of the Charleston shootings. This Friday, it's been 360 days. This Friday is the 1-year anniversary of that shooting, where it was a place of worship and people were killed. And Pastor Waters, who's a great friend of the community, a great ally of the community, him and his community and the Interfaith Alliances are putting together a memorial for that, are putting together an event to basically say never again. And subhanAllah, just within a few days before that, you have this, right? Which shows you that our gun violence is absolutely out of control in this country. It's absolutely out of control. How many Muslims are actually involved in gun reform? Are actually participating in gun reform discussions and policy making? Right? It's absolutely outrageous. So inshallah ta'ala, this Friday, as a means of coalition building, Faith Forward Dallas, which is an interfaith alliance, is holding an event, an anniversary of the Charleston shootings in Thanksgiving Square at 11 a.m. inshallah. I know we're fasting, I know it's a Friday, but please, let's show solidarity. The key word here is solidarity. Solidarity is not an endorsement of anyone else's beliefs. It's standing shoulder to shoulder with a person and saying that that person should not be targeted for their beliefs or their lifestyle, and you should not be targeted for your beliefs or your lifestyle. And it's a complete rejection of that. So this Friday, you can look up Thanksgiving Square in downtown Dallas, inshallah ta'ala, at 11 a.m. Let's show our solidarity, inshallah ta'ala. It's going to be an hour-long program. So please, let's have a good showing from our Muslim community. And again, introduce yourself to your neighbors. Please reach out to your neighbors. Ramadan, Eid, whatever it is. This is a perfect time to reach out to our neighbors and build those alliances. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to heal the divides in our community, our greater community, and to protect all of the innocent people from people that wish to do them harm. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect our community. And we ask Allah to enable us to be people that show the beauty of Islam through their character. Allahumma ameen. Jazakumullahu khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.